and regular town council meeting of North Branford, Connecticut on Tuesday, August 2nd at 6:41. Please join me in a salute to the flag and please remain standing after. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. At this time, as we all know, North Branford lost a very notable figure in our community for a very long time, Michael Duty. Michael passed away last week. He served on the police force for over 30 years, starting out as an officer, working his way up through deputy chief. He also served many years on the town council. He was a friend to many in this town. Please join me in a moment of silence. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Mayor Angeloni?
Here.
Councilor Abelson?
Here.
Councilor Diamond?
Here.
Councilor Gold?
Here.
Councilor Miller?
Here.
And Councilor Van
Here. Okay. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes of the July 16th, 2024 WPCA and Town Council meeting?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Councilor Diamond, second by Councilor Abelson. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries. On to the Water Pollution Control Authority agenda. Citizen statements? None. Unfinished business? None. New business? Scheduling a public hearing for sewer works operating budget and proposed user fee fiscal year 2024-25.
Good evening. The WPCA schedules a public hearing date to adopt the sewer user fees each year. We're working on analyzing the current projected cost to determine the user rate. We'll have more data in before the upcoming scheduled meeting. We're requesting that the public hearing for this item be set for the September 17th regular meeting. And I have a suggested motion for you to consider there for setting a public hearing.
Okay. Yes.
I make a motion that the North Branford Water Pollution Control Authority, acting as a sewer authority for the town pursuant to CGS 7-255, hold a public hearing on Tuesday, September 17th, 2024 at 6:45 p.m. at the North Branford Town Hall, 909 Foxen Road, for the purpose of receiving public input on the sewer works operating budget and the proposed sewer use fee for the 24-25 fiscal year.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion by Councilor Diamond, seconded by Councilor Abelson. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries. Thank you. Any citizen statements regarding the WPCA? Okay. Moving on to regular town council meeting, community events and presentations. A presentation from Michelle Loso from Seward and Monday for the fiscal year 22-23 audit.
Good evening, everyone. Obviously, I usually do not see you in at the end of September or the end of the summer. Unfortunately, this audit was unprecedented delays regarding both the implementation of Munis, various staff turnover within the finance department here, at very critical audit times. Obviously, there was a lot of issues with the implementation and training and questions regarding the Munis implementation, closing procedures, and capital assets. Again, thankful to Anthony and his staff for working with us, as well as the Board of Ed, central office staff, for getting this audit completed. We're actually going to be starting the next one on Monday. Anthony's getting tired of me, but that's too bad. So hopefully we will see you in December or January of next year to get the 23-24 audit done. But in regards to the 23-24, it is an unmodified, clean opinion on the governmental activities, business activities, and each major fund. There was no material non-compliance with laws and regulations, no significant deficiencies or internal control material weaknesses over the financial reporting process. We did perform a federal single audit as well, and that encompassed federal funding through most of that was through the state and local fiscal recovery funding. The town spent $275,000 of their money last year, as well as $600,000 that came through the state to continue the funding of the Free Meals for Students program. $750,000 was received for the town-wide radio system, as well as $328,000 for additional school lunch programs and $825,000 for additional education programs. We also perform a state single audit. Again, a clean, unmodified opinion on the compliance with the procedure, with the tests, with the funding that we have to test. There was about $12 million received for the school construction project this past fiscal year, as well as an additional $7.3 million in the educational cost sharing grant. The bonded debt, including direct finance leases, increased about $15.4 million, mainly due to bonding for the police station and the high school. Your net pension liability decreased for the town and the police plans, however increased for the volunteer plan due to some recent benefit rate increases. Again, fully funded to the actuarial recommended level. Your net OPEB obligation decreased about $355,000 due to the plan being funded. So that's, in most towns, that's not funded, so it's a much larger liability. Your general fund, total fund balance stood at $10.7 million, a decrease of 1.3. That represents 17.82% of your 23-24 operating budget, where your target is around 15%. Your unassigned fund balance stood at $8.4 million. That represents about 14% of your 23-24 budget, where your target is about 10. On the budget side, revenues were approximately $580,000 over budget, primarily in property taxes and investment income. As we've seen that, the rates were much higher over the last several years, and that will be obviously continuing. Expenditures were under budget by about $932,000. Generally, all departments showing savings in that area. So it was really eliminated the need to use the original appropriation of $3.1 million from your general fund balance for that year. I'll open it up to any other specific questions or comments.
At this point in time, because it's so far, I mean, we're already done with the next year after that, so it's kind of pointless at this point. So hopefully the next one is much more on time, and we can get back on schedule. So, I don't have it. Does anyone else have any questions? No? Okay.
Thank you for your time.
All right, thank you. Okay. Moving on to reports of committees, boards, and commissions. First one is Economic Development Commission.
Did another meeting.
Okay. Park and Recreation. So Park and Recreation will be, their next meeting is next Tuesday, the 27th. So our big thing in the last month, of course, was POCO at the beginning of August. As we all know, Mother Nature was not on our side this year. So we had rain every single day at some point in time. But we were able to get the fireworks off on Saturday night. It was a little bit early, but an hour early, but it was our only window of opportunity. We had to take direction from the police chief. The festival was closed early that night because of lightning. And Friday, we had some rain, which did end the festival was open until the regular time, but it did, the crowds did clear out. I will say one of the biggest highlights for me for the festival was on Sunday. We had a presentation, North Branford became a Purple Heart community. And there was a Purple Heart recipient who was the guest speaker. And found out he served on the Coventry Town Council at one point in time. He received his Purple Heart being injured in active duty in 2012. And one of his biggest things was that he had not flown in a helicopter since 2012, and that's when he was evacuated. And became, the helicopter he was in, because he was injured, was under enemy fire at the time. And so that was his last helicopter ride. He woke up 2 weeks later at Walter Reed. And so it was his wish to go back up in a helicopter, and we did have helicopter rides at the Poco Fest again this year. So I granted his wish, and also I rode with him in the helicopter when he went up, and this was his first helicopter ride since 2012 when he was injured. It was very emotional for him. Channel 8 was there. They did interview him afterwards, and he was very grateful for the opportunity to be able to do that. And it was very moving, especially, and also for me, for myself. So North Branford is now a Purple Heart community. This was orchestrated and done through our new Veterans Service Commission, who planned this. They also had a booth at the festival all weekend. So it was just a very, very moving ceremony. It was very nice. So that was the highlight for me. I think in all the years that I've volunteered for POCO, that had to be one of the most moving experiences that I went through. So POCO, we went through it, and a big kudos to all of our volunteers. It would not be possible to do this, from our seniors to our sports teams and everyone in between. Park and Rec staff, Jessie and her staff, do a tremendous amount of work on the festival. And we basically take the month of August off, but we will start next month planning. There are a few things that are already booked. Some of the bands, because they were not able to perform at this year's, they are going to honor their contracts for next year. So that's good. That's good news. And on our agenda tonight, you will see that there's some RFPs for some of the things for the POCO Fest for next year to go out. So we can, some of those are just part of contractual things. So that's on our agenda for later on. Just want to thank all of my colleagues on the town council for supporting the POCO Fest and for volunteering. The big change this year was parking on the back field, and I will say that it worked out great for as far as the police department was concerned. Traffic on 22 was minimal. There was no backup. There was no congestion on putting it off of Totucket Road. We're able to get a lot of cars off of that street before we go into parking. So that all worked out. We do have to make some modifications for next year due to the rain that we experienced, and we went through that. But it was, all in all, it worked out well. And our sponsors, big kudos to all of our sponsors. It was, without them, also takes some financial constraints away from us. Our sponsors are a huge part of as much of a part as our volunteers. So we look forward to 2025.
Thanks, Rose.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.
Thanks. Okay, Police Commission.
The Police Commission had a special meeting on August 5th. I was unable to attend, but the major item is on our agenda tonight.
Okay. Fire Commission, Jeff is not here tonight. Planning and Zoning.
I did not attend the meeting.
Okay. Finance Subcommittee, we met last week. There are a number of issues on our agenda tonight that we discussed at the Finance Subcommittee meeting. So we'll just go through those as we get to them. Public Safety Communications Subcommittee.
No report.
Inland Wetlands.
The next meeting is next week, August 28th.
Okay. And Blueprint.
Blueprint Committee meets this week, but we met in July. We discussed, I'm going to send a letter to the town manager regarding 1599 Foxen Road. Also send the town manager some information on various properties around North Branford that we took a look at. And now we're working on reviewing the fields around town, all the ball fields, the tennis, all of them. So that's where we're at.
Okay.
Do you have anything to add to that, Bruce?
Perfect.
Okay, thank you. Town manager's report.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor and members of the Town Council. The Mayor gave a great report on POCO, but I wanted to express that we had an enormously successful POCO festival this year, and I want to add my voice to those giving thanks to all who made it a success: the coordinators, the volunteers, sponsors, Jess and the Park and Recreation team, Senior Center staff, Fran and Public Works personnel, and our police, fire, and EMS personnel. And as the Mayor mentioned, we had a particularly moving Purple Heart ceremony on the Sunday of the festival, thanks to the Veteran Service Commission achieving one of the initial tasks we charged them with, and having our town designated as a Purple Heart community. Also, as the Mayor mentioned, our community suffered a tremendous loss with the sudden and untimely passing of former Mayor and former Deputy Chief of Police Michael Duty after a brief and brave fight with pancreatic cancer. Mike's lifelong dedication to the town of North Branford was channeled through many outlets. He was a police officer, Deputy Chief of Police, in a law enforcement career that spanned 37 years. He also served 8 terms on the town council, including 4 terms as mayor and 1 as deputy mayor. He also previously served on the Agricultural Commission, Conservation Commission, Inland Wetlands Agency, Planning and Zoning, and Human Relations Commission. And most importantly, he was a caring neighbor and friend. And I know you all join on behalf of the town in extending our deepest heartfelt sympathies to the Duty family and the loved ones he leaves behind. And the mayor has ordered flags in town to half-staff in his honor until interment, which will take place this Saturday. It was an honor to join Mayor Angeloni, State Representative Vin Candelora, and other local officials and guests for the Shoreline Chamber of Commerce's annual Women of Excellence Awards held at Woodwinds in Branford last week. This year, 2 women were honored from North Branford: Rita Ney, who you all know is the president of the Food Pantry of North Branford, and Mary Ellen DeLella, president of the Totucket Historical Society. Both women were honored for their philanthropy and their significant contributions they've made to our community. They were presented with their awards as well as citations from the General Assembly, U.S. Senate, U.S. House, and the town of North Branford. Congratulations once again to these 2 great residents we're proud to have as part of our town. Jim Buck has notified us that he is resigning as our town's emergency management director, as he has accepted the position of fire chief for the town of Wallingford. He'll be taking up his new duties at the end of this month. While I hate to lose someone of Jim's caliber from our team, I'm very pleased and proud that he's been selected for this new and exciting challenge. Most of you are aware that while he served as EMD, he's also the deputy fire chief for the town of Stratford, where I know his work is highly valued and will be missed. We posted for the EMD position and have already received some solid applications, and Jim has agreed to participate in the interview process, which I think will be invaluable. We'll miss Jim here, but I know you join me in congratulating him on this new post. Additional bittersweet news is that Victor Benny has accepted a position with the Regional Water Authority as their Director of Engineering. He'll be leaving his post as town engineer on September 6th. I hate to also lose Victor, but he's been an excellent town engineer and department head who has been dedicated, reliable, and professional. However, I'm very pleased to see someone of his talents and capabilities move up to a position like this with greater responsibilities. There's no denying that this is a terrific opportunity for him that I'm happy to see him seize. He will assist us in transitioning his open items and preparing for the transfer of his duties, so thank you. As you know, our blight ordinance took effect at the end of July, and to date we've had 7 qualifying complaints submitted, including junk in yards, overly long grass, or weeds and vines from unkempt property creeping into a neighbor's. Forms for reporting blight are available online on our website, northbrantfordct.gov, or in person in the building department in Town Hall. The South Central Regional Council of Governments and the Town of North Branford, in cooperation with the Connecticut Department of Transportation, have initiated the Northford Center Connectivity Study to evaluate existing challenges and opportunities throughout the study area. As the council is aware, the study was initiated to conduct a comprehensive transportation plan for various intersections along Connecticut Route 17, Middletown Avenue, and Connecticut Route 22, Clintonville Road, Forest Road, and prepare conceptual engineering drawings for improvements along the length of the corridors. The improvements would seek to improve connectivity and circulation through Northford Center. A proposed draft of the study has been completed and is available on the town website for review, and a public session will be held on August 27th, 2024 at the Stanley T. Williams Community Center Gymnasium at 1332 Middletown Avenue in Northford from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Residents are encouraged to attend, participate, and give feedback. Our Parks and Recreation Department will soon be kicking off the Autumn Nights at Augur Fall Concert Series. The first concert in the fall series is the Leaf Jumpers, September 16th from 6 to 8 p.m. All concerts are at Augur Park, 290 Forest Road, Northford. Food trucks on site are Easy Come, Easy Dough, fried dough sticks, and Rapici's Real Italian Ice and Gelato. Future acts that are coming in the series are Outlier, September 26th from 6 to 8, and Juice Box, October 3rd from 6 to 8. We'll be holding a second training session for elected and appointed members of boards and commissions and their clerks on parliamentary procedure, Robert's Rules of Order, and compliance with the Freedom of Information Act. This session will be held Wednesday, September 18th, 6 o'clock p.m. here in the Town Council chambers, and those wishing to attend should RSVP to Gina in my office at gcox@northbrantfordct.gov. And in observance of Labor Day, all town offices will be closed on Monday, September 2nd. As this is a trash holiday, all routes will be collected one day late that week, with Friday routes being collected on Saturday. That concludes my report.
Okay, thank you. Permanent Project Building Committee updates.
Thank you. Permanent Project Building Committee, the North Branford Police Department. The building is complete and the punch list is at 99.5%. Additional work is being done as requested. The HVAC humidity is an ongoing concern. Some additional testing and recalibration is in process. Potential air and infrared and concrete moisture testing is being done to eliminate potential areas of concern. This issue remains of concern and continues to be monitored by me, the PPBC, the purchasing agent, and our retained counsel to ensure that an adequate permanent solution from SPNA is arrived at as soon as possible. The reimbursement from FEMA of $1 million has been received, and the $128,000 steep grant and $4.5 million in state funds are in process. For North Branford High School Phase 2, the lobby tile is in progress. The rear parking lot is to be paved this week. The Promethean boards are being installed. The first floor locker rooms are in progress. Final cleaning has begun in some areas. FF&E delivery and install setup is scheduled for the week of September 3rd, and we're working on the next reimbursement of $22.5 million to date. North Branford Intermediate School, the project is approximately 65% complete. With regard to the existing wall leak investigation, at the direction of the PPBC, the design and construction team worked to evaluate the metal siding installation on the existing building, and a contractor is putting together a quote. The building is scheduled to be weather tight by the start of school. Work will be required in the 4 months to close out the final installation and will be performed outside of school operating hours. Stanley T. Williams Community Center, the reimbursement of $1.4 million is in process, and the Stanley T. Williams Community Center Pavilion, PPBC has reviewed this proposal, colors have been approved, and work is set to begin next fall. That concludes my report.
Next fall of 25?
This fall, I'm sorry. Say next fall, yeah. Okay. No, it's this fall. We're not that slow. Sorry.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to citizen statements, petitions, and correspondence. Seeing none, going on to resignations and appointments. Town Manager Mike Downs had reported in his general update about the resignation of Emergency Management Director James Buck, and James is here tonight, so.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the council. It's been an honor to be the Emergency Management Director for the town. We've had many different activations and needs that have come up. North Branford's a very resilient town in general, filled with a great population of people that are looking to get the job done on their own without much assistance or assisting each other. But we never measured what we need to do based upon the majority of people, but those that have the greatest need in town. And I believe at all times we've worked hard to meet that goal. We've worked with many in the room here, both on the council as well as the department heads in the room, and it's been a true pleasure doing so. So I came before you 9 years ago as the new Emergency Management Director, and I look forward to seeing who takes that next step to become the Emergency Management Director in the future. So thank you for the opportunity.
Well, thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Take care.
And good luck in your new position.
Thank you very much.
Okay, next item is appointment of a town council liaison to the Board of Education, contract negotiations for administrators. So Marie Diamond, Councilor Diamond, has been gracious enough to be our liaison on the Board of Education for all of their contract negotiations where it requires, or where a town council person can be. I've talked to Marie and she is willing to do it again. To be liaison. So do I have a motion to appoint Marie Diamond as the Board of Education liaison for contract negotiations for the administrators?
Motion.
I have a second?
Second.
Okay. Motion was made by Councilor Goad, seconded by Councilor Miller. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Okay, and one abstain. Okay, thank you, Marie, for doing that. Okay, unfinished business, discussion and action, the establishment of a town flag.
Okay, so you'll find a new memo in your folders this evening with some documentation in it. So per the council's direction, a contest was conducted at the Potato and Corn Festival from August 2nd and 4th, where attendees could select their favorite choice of a town flag from 3 designs the council had advanced. The voting was conducted by scanning a QR code on the display, which showcased a version of all 3 of the flags. And in support of this memorandum, there's a sheet with those 3 flag choices to remind you. The resulting vote was as follows. The total voting were 322. Flag 1, the purple background flag, got 181 votes. Flag 2 with the blue background got 70 votes. And flag number 3, which was the tricolor background, had 71. There were additional emails I received from residents who were unable to attend, casting 6 more votes for flag 1, the purple one, and 1 more for flag 2, the blue one. So in my opinion, this is a small sample from which to base the decision on, but it's clear from the sentiment I've heard in town and on social media and from the vote conducted that there is significant interest in seeing purple used in the flag. So I'm including with this memo another sheet of 2 flag designs that fully embrace purple for a design that does not represent the color clash used, incorporating the red, white, and blue theme of the town emblem in the center. These are submitted for your consideration as you decide how you'd like to proceed. And those 2 are 3rd page there with 2 different purple versions for you to take into consideration.
You just want to confuse the decision just a little bit more, Mike?
No.
Absolutely.
So can I say something?
You can.
Thank you. Mike, thank you for putting all this together.
Sure.
I know it was kind of like my idea to sit there and put it out to the residents. I'm a little upset that we had 321 votes. Jesse, you did an awesome job too. I can't even say it.
Well, there were more than the
I
budget
know it was
referendum, and that's what you
271.
asked
I
for,
know. I asked
and
for
that
more
was
than
achieved.
270. I'm just saying, I thought that the residents of the town would more than be happy enough to get involved in something. And obviously, they were gonna leave it up to the council to make their decisions. So, we're gonna make a decision on this flag, now, and that's the way it's gonna be. I'm just sorry that, you know, more of the residents, and I should have come up and, you know, I heard a lot about it. They wanted to vote about it. You know, I sent you an email, come to the Poco Fest. But we have a little over 13,000 residents in this town, and we had 321 votes. That's sad. Sorry, I'm gonna call out our residents, because they should be getting involved, especially with something like this, so. And I did put on a purple shirt tonight, I didn't do it.
Is that purple?
Yes, it is purple.
Okay.
So.
Well, looking for me.
It's not this person.
It's not this purple, but it is purple. And Jeff would be very happy that we're gonna have a purple flag. So, I just did an awesome job. I'm just saying, I'm just a little disappointed in our residents, that's all it is. So.
I think we did get, you know, while there wasn't as many people voting as we probably would have liked to see do it, you know, certainly there was a lot of attention, I think, that it garnered on social media. There was certainly, I think some people thought if they put it on Facebook, they were voting, but they, of course, they were not. But it did speak to the fact that there was a significant sentiment to see purple incorporated, even though it's technically not a town color, it's been the high school color, but I think people really wanted to see that, and that's why I, you know, offered these other two potential options for you to look at tonight, which I think are a little easier on the eye than maybe using red, white, and blue with purple.
So, like I said, just a little disappointed in the town. I would hope that they would have come out a little bit more forceful.
So are we deciding on this now, or?
Yes. So the question becomes, do we want to keep it as presented with the clash with the red and the blue with the purple, or do one of, Mike gave us two options. One is just making the seal, it's just purple and white. And the other one is there's a black ring around the seal and purple, so that it's not so much of a clash with the red and the blue.
Right, the problem that I see with that is it's not a town flag, because the center is what our colors are. So I think we should vote for what the people voted on, or, you know.
The option that was given.
They came out to vote.
I mean, you can always change the emblem too. I mean, the emblem is easy enough to change as well, if that was your sentiment, sure.
The emblem's kind of the emblem though, right? It's our town emblem, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
But but the council decided on the colors that they wanted for the emblem. That was just a few months ago.
We did.
Yep.
Yeah. In February, we
You were late. I think you weren't here.
But I thought these
You
are
were
our
late.
colors.
Well, the colors that were in the emblem were added because, I mean, I had written a memo about it, I think it was like in February.
It was, yeah.
Initially, the colors that the town had for their emblem were red and silver, which were picked in 1972. And through unofficial actions, there had been like a transition of this emblem to being reflected in different colors, whether it was black or purple or red, white, and blue, which were never sanctioned by the council. It just was done somehow. There's certainly no record. Lisa Valente and I both did pretty extensive
Right,
research
yeah,
on it.
I recall that meeting. I mean,
So, I mean, if you wanted to, you know, you could do the flag a certain color and still have the emblem be a different color. There's no reason why you can't do that. You could also change the emblem to match the flag if you wanted to reflect people's sentiments and wanting to incorporate purple. I don't think there'd be a problem with that. In terms of what it costs us, I mean, we've shelled out a few $100s for stickers that go on the public works trucks that we could change. We don't even necessarily have to change those. Changing the letterhead doesn't take anything. It's just changing the color of our digital letterhead, which is zero cost. So I think the
Right.
impact would be minimal if you wanted to do that.
right, but the way I'm looking at it, these are our town colors. And all the discussion we had, do we want to bring purple? We had it on at the council here, do we want to bring this school into it? And that's why we developed, or that's why we agreed on, this is one of the options for the vote. And this is what the people voted on. Now we have the town colors, incorporate the school color, we're good to go. That's the way I see it.
Well, I just think with the red in there, the flag is, I don't know, it stands out better than just all the black and white and purple. I kind of still like that.
The original, what they voted on?
Yeah.
Which is fine.
Because I think,
How do we
Yeah,
go
voted,
against it?
that's-
Everybody voted on that, and we're gonna say, yeah, well, you kind of, we're gonna give it to you, but we're changing it. You
yeah,
know, so why not
I
just
like
go
the
with-
way it is in that.
Just go with everybody voted on.
Yeah.
Can we vote?
Right?
We can.
So,
You wanna make
should
a-
I make a motion that we vote
That we
for,
adopt?
what the residents of the town had voted for? The purple, the original flag, flag number 1.
I'll second that.
Okay. Motion has been made by Counselor Abelson, seconded by Counselor Diamond, to adopt flag 1, purple background with the town emblem in the center. Any other further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Motion passes.
How long
Okay.
before that's flying, Mike?
What's that?
How long before that flag is
Next
flying
week.
out front?
Yeah, we'll have them printed up
He's got a box
soon, probably
in
within
the
a month.
I'll buy one. I'll
And
fly
we're
that
gonna, again,
house.
we're gonna make 5x7 versions of it available to the public to purchase, so they can show town spirit. 3x5, excuse me, yeah. Thanks. Good catch.
Okay, moving on to new business. Item A, 2024-25 lease purchase agreement for Board of Ed technology.
Yes, good evening. Annually for the last 24 years, I work in conjunction with the Board of Education, Director of Technology, and we determine the amount that they're going to go out and lease purchase every year. I solicit that to a half dozen different financial institutions, and the results you have before you are the 3 that responded this year. Fleetwood Financial with an interest rate of 7.95, First American, part of RBC, with a 5.45, and TD Equipment Finance with a rate of 4.73, which will yield the greatest buying power, $261,000. So it's my recommendation that we enter into an agreement with TD Equipment Finance. I have forwarded the agreement to our town attorney, who has reviewed it, very similar to the ones we've had for the last several years, and that's my recommendation. We move ahead with that and get that right.
Okay. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion that we adopt the motion on page 18, which is quite lengthy, which means we would go with TD Bank as proposed.
Second.
Okay, the motion has been made by Counselor Diamond, seconded by Counselor Abelson. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries. Okay. Next item. Proposal to adjust the pay scale for board and commission clerks.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And this is, excuse me, this is an item that I advanced to the Finance Committee last week and comes before you tonight. As you know, we rely on a pool of highly dependable clerks that take the minutes and perform the duties that's associated with our boards and commissions, and the pay rates for the boards and commission clerks have not been adjusted since 2017. Several of these clerks have approached me concerning the amounts they are paid, and I do agree that the pay is low in consideration to the vital service that they provide. Clerks are paid varying amounts based on several factors, including the anticipated length and frequency of meetings, difficulty and complexity of the subject matter, and scale of associated duties. These were last established by the council in 2017. I'm not recommending any changes to that established scale apart from the clerk of the Permanent Project Building Committee because of our discussion that we had in the Finance Committee and the increasing challenges that have been associated with supporting that committee. But I'm recommending a modest increase to their initial hourly rates of $25 each. Attached in support of this memo is a schedule of their current pay rates and proposed pay rates, which are before you this evening for your consideration. The costs of making the adjustment are unbudgeted and require $6,350 to be transferred out of contingency. Please keep in mind that this is a variable number which would be impacted by cancellations of meetings, calling of special meetings, etc. And I'd also note that our costs for this line item have gone down recently owing to the council going to one meeting per month as opposed to two. So this has saved us roughly $3,000 out of this account per year. And so I'm bringing that before your consideration tonight.
Okay. Do I have a motion?
I make the motion that the North Branford Town Council hereby increases the pay scale for clerks to the town's boards and commissions as detailed herein, transferring $6,350 from contingency and that the individual clerk pay accounts be adjusted accordingly.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion has been made by Counselor Diamond, second by Counselor Abelson. Any discussion?
How many clerks do we have?
We have,
1, 2, 3,
Because I know Kathleen, I saw her last
well, we
night.
have, let me tell you, we have 1, 2, 3,
14.
There's 5 of you?
I have 5.
Well, there's 14
14
commissions.
commissions that have a
Right.
clerk.
Some of them are multiple, they have multiple, but there's 14 boards or commissions that we pay a clerk.
Well, how many clerks do we have?
We have Kathleen Daly, we have Jessica Della Camera, Janet Crean, Denise Prather, and Gina Cox.
So 7.
Okay.
And they all get paid the same?
No. On page 59 of the
No,
packet,
I can't find that.
it's on page 59, it lists how much they get paid. And this is based, the pay rate is based on a 2-hour meeting, is that correct, Mike?
That's right.
Right? And if the meeting goes over the 2 hours, then they get $25 an hour.
Right, and I'm not recommending changing that aspect of it.
So why do, forget it.
No, don't forget it. You got a question to ask.
Ask the question.
No, the question is there's 7 clerks and they all get paid differently?
Mhm.
And is there a reason why?
Yep, it's dependent on, back in 2017, there was some research done. I actually kind of dug up the memo that was exchanged between council members and the town manager then. And they had gone through and reviewed the different duties, subject matter, et cetera, associated with each of the different boards and commissions, and it arrived at that variable rate depending on which board or commission they were working with. For example, Board of Fire Commissioners, there were other ancillary duties that were associated with doing a clerk's job, beyond.
Mhm.
So that was what they figured into, and I didn't want to touch that rationale. I was just advocating for it across the board.
There's your rationale, so that's fine. Okay, get it. Thank you.
Sure.
Okay, so the motion has been made and seconded. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Okay. Next item, proposed change to the town employee 401A plan regarding in-service withdrawals.
Yes, there, in 1999, when we closed the defined benefit pension plan, and all new employees went into a defined contribution plan, there was one plan between the town and Board of Ed. Several years later, they split off into their own 401A plan. There's some similarities, but some differences in the various aspects of the plan. One of the common aspects is when you could take an in-service distribution, meaning you're still employed, but want to access your money. Currently, the default for both of our plans is at 70.5. And there's an opportunity, if you turn to page 61 of your scan, to bring that down to normal retirement age, which is defined at 65. So it would allow the employees to access their money a little bit earlier than they currently can do. It's got no financial impact to the town. It's their own money, just being able to access the money sooner. Board of Ed is going to act at this on their plan at their next meeting, and we thought it would be nice to stay consistent and both move at the same time. So the motion would be what would have to happen is there'd be a new agreement made up, an amendment that Mike needs to be authorized to sign and put that into place.
Okay. Do I have someone to read the motion?
Be it hereby resolved that by the North Branford Town Council authorizes Town Manager Michael P. Downs to sign an amendment and restatement to the Town of North Branford Defined Contribution Plan, number 107430, modifying section 11.1 from age 70.5 to normal retirement age defined elsewhere as age 65, effective September 1, 2024.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Motion has been made by Counselor Diamond, seconded by Counselor Miller. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries. Okay. Now we are on to D, lease agreement between the North Branford Food Pantry and the town. So this lease agreement was emailed, and there is also a copy at a hard copy at your desk. So I've reviewed this with the town attorney. I've talked briefly with the food pantry. Once we agree on the concept here, this will be emailed to the food pantry so that they can review it with their attorney. They'll come back if there's anything of note that they would like us to change or discuss with us. One thing, Brian, on page 1, I know you changed the term from 24 ending in 29, but it should be, instead of 12 months, it should be 5 years there. We changed it. So they are looking for a longer term lease because they are going to be putting work into the building, modifying the top section of the building. As part of this lease, Mike did find plans of the building, because we're going to have to, it's going to become Exhibit A, where we outline the section of the building they get. So they're basically getting from just beyond the dispatch center of the old police center, that's going to be, there's going to be a door put in that hallway, so that we reserve the right to use that first section there, because it also has the stairway that goes down to the basement, which Franny is going to be using the basement and the Sally port for storage on there. So the first year, what we wanted to do, which we had discussed at our last meeting, is get a idea of how much they use in utilities, which is basically the oil for the heat and the electricity. Because they are on septic there, they're on well, so those are all things that we provide, but it would be prorated, because they're the rough estimation of the square footage of the building that they will be using is approximately 2,000 square feet. And the building is probably approximately 6,300 square feet. So it's about a third of the building that they will be occupying on there. So the other thing that I had talked to Brian about is, because they're going to be doing work in the building, we can have the lease start at a certain time that they're not paying rent, because they're not going to pay rent until they actually move into the building, but we have to have the lease in place and have their insurance and all of that stuff so that they can do the work in the building. They know that they have to have licensed contractors, they have to go through the building department, pull permits, they have to provide insurance, they understand all that. They do have, Rita Nay's husband is a licensed contractor, and does this as his business. So he will be doing the work in there. I can also tell you that they applied for a grant through Home Depot, which has been granted, and Home Depot will be providing all of their shelving units and the flooring. They're going to put the vinyl flooring in the place, and Home Depot will also install that. And so they applied for a grant, and it was approved. So they will work with them in getting all the necessary paperwork and insurance requirements to the town.
Do they have a timeline?
Pardon me?
Do they have a timeline?
Well, the police department is not moved out of the building yet, so they cannot start their work. They're gonna, the chief is on vacation this week. When he comes back, he probably needs another 2 to 3 weeks to get files and things out of the area that they will be working in. So during that time frame, they are going to lay out what they're gonna do, work with the building department, get all of their paperwork in, so that they can start once the police department is fully moved out of the building. So the biggest thing on here is on page 2, is the fee, which we talked about briefly at the last meeting. So what they are currently paying includes utilities in their current facilities. So we had talked about a lesser amount because of them having to pay utilities, or it's gonna be prorated. But, so we had discussed last month, $450 a month in there. And also that money goes into a separate account, so that we establish, their rent payments will go into an account, so if any work needs to be done on the building that we have to take care of, we have money to do that. So is everyone in agreement with $450?
Well, I have a question. Is there a provision in here, or should there be, or should there not be, of, let's say with somewhere in that 5-year period, the town wants to do something with that building?
Yeah, there's a 90-day provision on either side.
Okay,
Notice to give to, you know, so if they find a different location, they could give us 90-day notice, or if we decide we want to, we can give them 90 days notice. And it protects both sides. They
Okay.
currently do
All
not
right.
have that in
Okay.
their current lease, so.
okay.
So is everyone okay with the $450? And that would be for the first year, because we had also discussed that we want to obtain data as far as
I think it's a good idea.
as far as utilities, how much they pay, and then after a year, be able to discuss with them and just charge them one fee, which includes utilities, once we have hard data. And there is provision in here that after a year that we can have
That's fine.
that option with them. The only other, the other thing, Brian, is under number 4 on page 2. There's a paragraph about sign affixed and everything else there. There is a current sign on the property, a structure that's already there, that originally had North Branford Police Department. They've taken the sign out, so it's just empty right now. They've asked if they can use that to put a sign, to put it up that it's the North Branford Food Pantry.
I thought they were taking I thought they were gonna take the wooden sign that they had.
Well, they probably are, but this sign is illuminated.
I know, so,
But so they asked if they could have a sign made to put into the thing that's right there. It's already there. It's not, we don't have to construct anything. It's
you
just,
have to get a permit, and you have to get a permit to put a sign up, so,
well, the sign's already there. The structure's already there.
yeah, that's fine.
All you
yeah,
gotta
I'm
do
saying.
is check with the building department.
Yeah, it's all part of,
They have to check with the building department, because I believe that even if the structure is there, I think still they have to get a permit.
If it's
to put the
identical to
sign.
what's already there, I don't know that.
it's
they
just
do.
filling the hole.
Yeah.
All you have to do is check,
I know.
and then
Yeah.
everybody's satisfied.
Yeah.
Is that something we gotta vote on?
No,
That's
this
right.
allows you to do
Then
that.
why are we talking about it?
Sign except as is approved by the town, essentially. As the size, location, design, and color. So once they present the sign, design, location, sign, and color, you get approved the sign.
Okay, as long as it meets the requirements
Thank
of.
you.
It's saying that they can't put up whatever they want.
Okay.
They can put up nothing unless you approve it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I don't mean to throw a monkey wrench into this, but, since it is a food pantry and, you know, everything's donated, there's no money being made on any of this, I actually have a hard time with them paying a lease. What if they just paid their utilities and paid for all the costs and paid for whatever it took in the building? It's a building we were gonna tear down. If it doesn't cost us anything, if they pay all the expenses and everything.
Well, it does cost us something, because we have to still insure it.
Well, basically would they cost, whatever portion of the building that they are using, if they pay for what it costs the town, whatever if that's what this number comes up with, if that's what that number's covering, I'm good with that, but I just can't see us, you know, for the money that we would take in for the food pantry, all the money we spend everywhere else in the town, you know, I just.
So from what I understand is they pay $1,000 a month, somewhere around there, roughly?
Well, with other expenses.
Yeah,
with the
so
plowing and
basically, we're
mowing.
giving them less than half. The money that we're receiving is going towards the building, because it's gonna need a roof eventually, and other things. So, at 450, I understand where
So
you're
I
going.
guess
totally
I guess
get
now
it.
that I look at it, that is what
Yeah.
that money's doing.
Right. It's
Yeah.
gonna
I just don't,
maintain the building.
yeah, I think it should strictly all be
It's
kind
going to
of
maintain the
like
building.
a break-even thing. I don't-
Right.
you know,
So when we-
the
when
town
we-
doesn't need to get ahead on that, you know. what I
Yeah,
mean?
no, when we did the budget, this, for the year that we're in right now, because we knew we were gonna be out, we did put money in our budget for expenses for that building, and it
Right.
was roughly $6,000,
Right.
which was just an estimate.
Right,
On there, so that's kind of where we based the number for the rent, was to cover those costs on there, but we definitely are not making
Right.
any money,
All right,
on there at all.
that's great then.
So,
Thank you.
okay, does anyone have any other questions in regards to this?
Did the utility section get rewritten?
Yes, it's, let me see, yes, service and utilities. So it says that the licensor, which is the town, is responsible for heat, electricity, oil, gas, water, and hot water. And the licensee shall reimburse for the pro rata cost of such services and utilities as related to the licensed premises.
Excellent.
And payment of such shall be made by the licensee within 30 days of receipt of the invoice from the licensor.
Billed monthly, quarterly, as you say?
No, it's what works for you.
And so my question on number 2 term, so that's inaccurate, it's not a 12 months, it's actually 60 months, correct?
Well, that's what I told Brian,
Right.
change
I
that
just wanna make sure.
to 5 years, because the years, he changed the years to 24 to 29, but he didn't change the.
Take it like a placeholder, you guys make a final decision.
Right.
Yes, right. So we just have, once the chief comes back from vacation and we see how soon he can be out of there, that's kind of when we're gonna start that, so that they can get into the building. Once they get in and determine, I know their goal is they would like to be in there for winter. So that, so it's easier, but, it's all gonna determine once they get in there. They did go in and look at the building yesterday with Franny, and the contractor, Rita's husband, was there. So they know which walls have to stay up, which can come down, and they're gonna start getting a plan so that they can start getting all the paperwork ready in here. So,
Should we have that in there about when they get invoiced for the utilities? Because it doesn't define
I
it.
specifically left it out because they have to pay within 30 days. of
Right,
receipt
but
of
I mean,
invoice.
because what Anthony's asking is, how often should he invoice them?
I left it flexible, so they can do it monthly,
Okay.
quarterly, whatever works for him. It's not really impose an obligation on him that every 50 days he has to do it. For instance, it may not be that easy depending on when he gets his utility bills, what periods they cover, So I left it flexible. They have to pay within 30 days of receipt. But I don't say when we're going to invoice them unless they raise that as an issue. It's to your benefit.
yeah.
Just a little typo there. It should be
Is that
within.
UI over there?
What?
Is that UI?
It is.
Oh, so we're never getting a bill.
No. Right. So that building is UI and it is on the solar credit. And Anthony has an update later on as to where we are, with getting our bills. But as of March, the last time we got any information from the UI, that building had about $20,000 in credit, which I think we should just leave there right now to let them use. So, and see once what that building does generate, and if we have to, after a year or so, move some of that money to a different account and just leave some there. I mean, I'm fine with that. I don't care that they use the solar credits. It is for the town, the food pantry, so.
It's for a good cause.
It's a lot of credit.
Yeah.
We'll think about that later on, what to do with it.
Well, yeah, I mean, once they're in there and we see if they don't use that much, we can then move it
Right.
on there. But for right now, I would just suggest keeping it there, on that part of it. Okay, Brian, so you have the changes on here, and I will get you the email for Rita to,
Well, however you like it, I'll make the changes.
well, if you can email a copy of this to them. They have a board meeting next week, so, yes, so I'll get you her email.
I'll leave open spots at the beginning and then we can do it.
Correct. Okay, great.
It's good.
Okay. They are very excited to be moving into,
Well, I'm
the
pretty
spot.
excited that we're helping them.
Yes. Okay, contingency transfer 24-25 for merit raises.
So do we have to vote on? We didn't have to vote on that.
I do. Oh, okay. Do I have a motion to accept the license agreement between the town and the food pantry with the changes noted?
Second.
Okay, so, Walt, you made the motion?
Yep.
Okay, motion has been made by Counselor Goad, second by Counselor Miller. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries. Thank you. Okay, item E, contingency transfers.
Thank you. I'm currently in the process of doing performance reviews for our administrators, and I'm requesting a contingency transfer of $80,000 to cover this year's merit raises. I'll be awarding a maximum of 3% merit raise for each administrator, and this transfer would cover all merit raises if all administrators were to meet the standard to receive the full 3% raise. That's the same percentage that I requested last year. And I would ask that if you're amenable to it, that you also in the motion incorporate the account numbers that are attached on the second page of the memorandum for this transfer.
Second page.
There's a suggested motion I have, but on the second page, you'll see there's a account number that was in the memo provided by Anthony, just to incorporate that number for your motion, for clarity.
Yep.
So it's 3% across the board, Mike?
That's right. I'm not saying that I'm awarding 3% to everybody. That's just the amount that would cover it as I finish this process. If I can give 3%, I can give 2.5% to some people. It depends as I finish that process. But the maximum I'll be giving out is 3%. So this transfer would cover the maximum. So I wouldn't be coming back to you again if I needed to.
What is it? Could there, is it possible, is money left
I knew this.
over?
I know you were gonna ask something like that.
Well, I mean, if your maximum is 3%, but someone could receive less than 3%, then I would think there could be money left over. That's all, that's why
Correct.
I'm asking.
Yep.
But,
You just want wiggle room to work with.
Right.
Yeah,
Exactly.
okay.
well, I mean, could we wait until you give them all out and then see what the exact amount is? Because it's just the final amount, it's not by
Yeah.
person, right? I mean, it doesn't
I
make
don't
any.
know, whatever's the proper way to do it.
What's that? No, I would be giving out money we didn't have.
Oh, so he wants
Oh.
approval to move the money.
So you
Right.
need the money to sit
Right.
there and give out the money.
That's right.
Overspending line item.
So can you return the money after it's
I can if you want,
You're gonna
yeah.
laugh?
Yes, yeah. Yep.
Let's just move the money so we
Yeah.
can make those
All
jobs.
right,
Move the
At
money.
the end of the year, it'll go back into your fund balance like any other.
yeah, okay.
Motion.
Okay, and this is for the administrators who are not in any union, and how many people is that?
Yeah, I was gonna ask.
27?
Okay. All right.
So we're not making a motion? Are we
Yes,
waiting?
we are gonna make the motion, because they need the money in order to do it, because they don't have the money there, so. Would you like to?
That the North Branford Town Council hereby authorizes a transfer of $80,000 for contingency to cover annual merit raises for administrators at the direction of the town manager, Michael P. Downs, according to the account on page 64.
Second.
Okay, the motion was made by Counselor Diamond, seconded by Counselor Zampano. Any further discussions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Okay, motion carries.
Thank you.
Okay. Next one, contingency transfer for power at the dais. It's for us up here.
Yes, so you may remember that a few council members had asked recently about having electric outlets and USB ports installed at the council dais at your seats to be able to plug in your laptops and other mobile devices. So we've obtained 2 different quotes to get this work done with 2 options. Option 1 will provide the requested circuits for 9 outlets with USB slots, cutting outlets into the top of the tabletop at the dais, and will additionally reroute the microphone cables down a telepole, not a telephone pole, allowing us to clean up some of the cable that litters the council floor. We would get rid of some of this plate of spaghetti stuff that we have here. And then option 2 will also give us the 9 outlets. It'll give a nice pop top to the cover of them, and also will give the we'll get rid of the inconvenient hump that no one can see, but councilors Diamond and Miller have been contending with, as has anyone who has sat in that seat since it's been built. That will correct that and put it into the floor and cover up that and eliminate a tripping hazard. And that cost goes up to $8,440. And I have Dan Celentano's here. He's a little more familiar with the projected project if anybody has questions to the details involved in it.
Hey, Mike, does it clean that up too?
Yeah, it should.
Yeah.
There's more spaghetti over here.
Yeah, it's all over the place, yeah.
Well, that's a real mess over there.
Yep.
Yeah,
Is there a basement?
yeah, that's horrible.
Could you show me? Is there a basement to this building?
No,
No.
So this is a slab.
that's right. They're gonna cut through the slab.
So they're not doing pole, they're not,
A telepole,
they're doing poles?
a telepole, yep.
So yeah, option 1 is a pole coming down on the left right there. Option 2 is putting it down on the floor. And those 2 options are actually only providing regular outlets in the top of your desk here. You would have to add the $2,700 to get the nice pop top ones.
Right.
Actually bringing it to $11,160 for the all-in.
So if they put it in the floor, are they trenching the floor and bringing the conduit through it?
Yes. Yeah, so there's really 2 decisions. It's pole or floor, and then regular outlets or pop-top outlets.
We do not want the pole. That's gonna be in one, I'm sorry. It's annoying,
Where would that pole be?
right by you.
So it's not in your way.
Right on the left there.
Yeah, but it's
So literally just
comes
staring at
down,
a pole
and
that's
it's
gonna
straight
bother
down, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that
That's
doesn't look
annoying.
nice.
No, they'll
Do it
trench,
once, do it right.
you do it right, you trench the floor, you put the conduit in, and as far as doing the pop tops, that's a little excessive.
And the work will take 2 days. I think we're projected to whichever way you went with it, and so we would make sure it didn't interrupt with,
They would be doing it?
no, we would. we have a
Contractor.
You have someone that-
Yeah, someone on the bid list for electrical.
And would they have to put new carpet in?
No, they could slice it, peel it up.
Oh, okay.
Bury it, and
Alright.
put it back down, yeah.
And put the black thing back over there.
And that includes cleaning that up.
I don't know if he was
Says the microphone
cleaning.
cables, so we should be able to
Yeah.
do that.
Yeah, he might have been sending it over there.
I mean, because that would be a separate pole. No.
I don't think we, I don't think
That
we
we just gotta dig a hole for.
Well, you can't dig a hole.
Okay, so which option do we want, 1 or 2? Oh, I guess we want 2 because you don't want the pole.
You don't want the,
You want
being,
option
just
2
being
plus.
honest, you do
Well,
not
no,
want the pole.
but we don't have to do the 2,700, which is the pop top. We can just have outlets because then
Yeah,
you
what do you
just
need the
plug in.
pop tops for?
Yeah.
Yeah, he kind of did that as an alternate, like, you know.
The pop top really only gives you like the ability to like, you know,
Push it down, push it.
yeah, right, exactly.
No, we can just have outlets.
You sit there.
Okay.
I don't
So,
think we deserve any of
Go
it.
with option 2.
Why, we don't get paid.
I don't think we deserve any of it.
yes, yes. You want to make the motion?
That the town manager is hereby authorized to appropriate from reserve
Okay.
contingency account 1,000, et cetera, with doing option 2 for $8,440.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion was made by Counselor Diamond, second by Counselor Abelson. Discussion?
Why don't you want it?
Because one of you guys will be sitting there going like this the whole time during the meeting.
No, I'm just saying, but it's not just for us either. It's for all, I mean, planning and zoning was sitting here last night.
Permanent project.
Permanent
All
projects,
of them.
planning and zoning.
Yeah.
How many other,
Over there right now.
All the other 14, well, not all of them, but
At least
probably
10.
at least 10 of them, right?
Yeah.
So it's not just for us.
Right.
Yeah.
Town committees, yeah.
Not that
Yeah.
special.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained?
Thank you.
Motion carries. So when we come back for our September meeting, it'll be done, Dan? Is that? Okay, thank you. Okay, appropriation transfer 2023-24.
Yeah, Madam Mayor, as we close out the fiscal year, you're going to see transfers between the interior departments and then between departments, sewer works fund on the back page as well. Some of the transfers are the way that it's budgeted, as in the case of like the liability insurance, the self-insurance reserve, we budget that in the insurance department, it gets moved out to that fund. The ambulance is budgeted in the ambulance department, it gets moved out to the operating transfers fund. Those are some of the larger ones. There's police department budget transfers between police and communications. On the front page, there's some more police ones, some fire, some communications, social services. And again, as we wind down the fiscal year and wrap up 23-24, there'll be more of these coming before you at the September meeting, hopefully to have everything wrapped up by then.
Okay.
Resolved that the North Branford Town Council hereby approves the following appropriation transfers as delineated on pages 67 and 68 as recommended by the town manager and the treasurer and finance director.
Second.
Motion was made by Counselor Diamond, second by Counselor Goad. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries. Okay. Next item, promissory note with land trusts for obtaining open space.
Madam Mayor, did you want me to review that, or did you want to?
Yes,
Okay.
I can. So the town manager has a memo in here for us as to how this originated. So as we know, the council supported the land trust because we have right of first refusal on the 2 pieces of property up on Beach and Pomps that they are purchasing from the Regional Water Authority. So it's roughly 35 acres on there. They did receive a grant from the state, $385,000. The project has not closed yet. It was awarded May of last year. The state, it's through DEEP, is just taking a very, very long time in reviewing all of the documents. They are getting much closer. The issue became the state will not have the money to the land trust at the time of closing. They said it will come, once everything is approved, it will come a few months after closing. The Regional Water Authority, so the land trust did fundraising. They have some of the money themselves. 200 and some $1,000. They're getting $385 from the state, which will cover the total purchase price. The water company, because they know the state will not have the money at the time of closing, will fund, I think 75 or 80%. They give it to them at a no-cost loan until they get the money from the state. So they are about $60,000 short of having all the money at closing to pay for it. The town has a little bit over $200,000 in a, what is it, the land?
Rural
The
Preservation
Rural
Fund.
Preservation Fund. So the town manager had mentioned that we could do a loan to them for the $60,000 to bridge so they can do the closing. When they get the money from the state, they pay the money back to the town. So the town attorney worked with their attorney in doing a promissory note, and that is what's in the package tonight, to approve the loan. It's $60,000. There's no interest on it. It's a one-year promissory note. They're very close. The state's much closer now, so it shouldn't even be a year, but they gave enough leeway in case something happened with the state. But the state has, it's all bonded. The money's there. They're just going through the motions with the state. So.
The North Branford Town Council hereby agrees to provide a bridge loan to the North Branford Land Conservation Trust in the amount of $60,000 from the town's Rural Preservation Fund for the purpose of acquiring land from the RWA at Ponce Lane and Beach Street, and for the town to enter into this promissory note under the terms agreed to by the town attorney and the North Branford Land Conservation Trust.
Second.
Motion has been made by Councilor Diamond, seconded by Councilor Goad. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained? Motion passes. Thank you. Okay, vacation time for new hires.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. For this item, I'd like to bring our Assistant Town Manager, Rory Burke, up.
Good evening. Last year, when the council was considering the request from the administrators group for changes to their benefits plan, you granted 2 weeks of vacation to new hires with the qualification that there be a clawback provision if the administrator were to leave in their first year of service. And that just poses a little logistical issue in that historically vacation time has accrued in arrears. Previously, administrators had no vacation time in their first year. During that time, the vacation time was accruing, and on the anniversary of their hire date, they become eligible to use that time. That's how it's worked in all of the bargaining units as well. If granting them time in their first year is not consistent with that accrual method, and so it's a matter of the council could either change the accrual method and have it be 6 hours per month would get you to 70 hours, 2 weeks in the first year, cap it at 70 hours, or the time would have to be granted up front with no clawback provision.
So the way it was, or the way it is now, you have to wait a full year to get your 2 weeks?
That's how it was previously.
And it's not that way anymore?
Currently, they get 2 weeks up front, but it's the clawback provision that's problematic.
So basically, they have 2 weeks vacation before they've actually, we'll say they're vested.
Correct. Similar to when they start, they get 15 days of sick time. It's similar to that.
So basically what you're saying is if they leave before the first year is up, they still get the 2 weeks.
Correct. Alternative, the problem is to do a clawback, that implies that they're going to pay you back. If you're going to deduct money from an employee's paycheck, you need to get written authorization in advance.
Right.
Well, they get 2 weeks. I think if they haven't taken it and they left in 6 months, they're not paid the vacation.
Yes,
It's
they
all, are they?
I I believe, per the employee.
Sounds like they
The
are.
administrative benefit plan, that
Yeah,
it would be
that's
paid
what
out
we
upon
agreed,
separation.
that's what we voted on.
Sounds like they are.
When do we vote on that?
Last year.
For me.
It was approved with a clawback provision. The only way to do a clawback would be to do the accrual.
So if we change the provision to an accrual basis,
Mm.
then that will cover.
Yeah, at that point, if they wanted to use more time than they had accrued, they could request it from the manager, and at that time, they would sign an authorization for a payroll deduction.
So right now, we have a clawback.
Yes.
Yes.
Well,
I'm
That's
hearing
how it
it,
was
then I'm not hearing it. That's why I just want to make sure.
That's how it was approved.
Okay.
Right.
but
So-
actually doing a clawback right now is.
No, I get that. Then that would mean if I terminated my employment here, if I was an employee, and terminated my employment and did not take my vacation that I did not supposedly earn yet, then I wouldn't be paid for it, right? Right, the way it is right today. Because otherwise, what does clawback even mean? Even though I understand it's problematic, but the process doesn't work. Because right?
Yeah, right now,
No, but do you follow the logic I have here? So if I was hired tomorrow and if I worked here for a month, took 2 weeks vacation, left in 4 months, then you can't claw back my pay. But now if I work 4 months without
Take no
taking any
time.
vacation time, I would think I would be only be, the town would only be obligated to pay me for what I've earned up to that. If we had this clawback, even though we can't use it, if we had it in place.
well, that's the issue, right? Time either accrues or is granted. And so if you're giving them time up front, you're essentially
Right.
granting it to them. And at that point, it's like sick time. If an employee gets 15 sick days, they use 15 sick days, and then they leave, there's no way to
Yeah,
claw
yeah,
it
I'm
back.
not
It's
saying
the same.
which way's right or wrong, but I'm trying to follow the logic, because if we right now have a clawback, even though I understand it's difficult if we have a clawback, then that means if someone left early that didn't take their vacation, there's nothing to claw back. And there's nothing to pay them,
At that point,
right?
elsewhere in the administrator benefits policy, it says that vacation time is paid out upon separation. So if it's granted up front, then upon separation, that time will be
Okay,
paid
so
out.
then,
The way
that
we're-
doesn't
So
make
if we
sense.
do the accrual basis, which
No.
would take care of the clawback,
Mm.
if they decided to leave in 4 months, or separated in 4 months, they would only get what was accrued at that point.
Correct.
Not the full 2 weeks.
Correct.
Which makes sense.
Right.
That makes sense.
So basically, what you're asking is we need to change it
Yeah,
to
I
the accrual
can't
basis.
do what you've put in place currently.
Right, because it has to be the
Well,
accrual, because it has to
I'm
be.
glad
the-
to hear that, 'cause that doesn't make
Basically,
sense.
we're giving them 2 weeks. Here's your 2 weeks, thank you very much. But the problem is when.
I have no way to recover that
You
if
don't
somebody
have
were
to
to leave.
recover it because we're giving them the 2 weeks, and I get what you're saying.
It would essentially be voluntary. They would have to
Yes.
sign a piece of paper.
Right, no, I understand what you're
Yeah.
saying too, but I think we had agreed on it whenever we agreed on it, that we thought there was gonna be a clawback.
Correct.
But, so if we think there's gonna be a clawback, then that means nobody's paid upon separation for any money, any time they didn't earn. But evidently, it's not written the proper way in the handbook. But now, I wanna stop right there. But you're coming to us now with 2 different options, I believe, is what you're presenting to us.
Correct.
Okay.
The time either has to be granted or
Right.
it has to accrue.
Accrue.
Before you guys did anything last year, it accrued, but there was no time in the first year. So if somebody left within the first year, there was no time to claw back because they hadn't earned it. They would be paid. They were accruing. So to your point, they were still being paid out if they left for the time that they had accrued.
Right.
The way we're set up, it's like not even vacation time, we're giving you a
giving it-
bonus. It's like a
right,
bonus for
basically,
the
right,
year.
so that we have to
It's not
change it
even
to
really-
the accrual basis.
Yeah, that's a
So
bonus.
that's fine. We
So-
either change it to accrual
Yeah.
or you just grant them 2 weeks
Accrual.
upfront. So
Accrual.
Well, is that
that's
gonna
the option.
upset them if we don't grant them the 2 weeks which they requested?
For a new hire.
Well,
They're on,
Yeah, but-
the new hires on their own.
But I'm just, right, I'm just.
Not the job.
Yeah,
I
what
mean-
I would say is that, this is the administrator's unit, this is people presumably coming in not at the beginning of their careers. And so they probably are leaving jobs where they had vacation time. In
So it's a
excess.
negotiation it's a negotiation when they walk in the door.
Mhm.
Basically, it's when they're negotiating their contract.
Yeah, but that's not what we're saying.
But
I know that.
There's
I get it.
there's another way to look at this too. I think if you went through history in the last 5 years, how many times did you hire someone in the town hall and then left before a year was up? I would say probably not too many.
Few. In the time that I've been here, which granted is only a little over a year.
So,
Well,
is
you're
it worth?
okay.
Is it worth? It's a benefit that might help draw employees in. Number one, and then do you need to worry about that pay being paid out?
Yeah, I would say barring kind of.
Because it's such. In my opinion, it's pretty minimal.
But if they accrue it, they're still getting it, they're earning it.
Yeah, I agree.
You're earning it, you're gonna get, you're not giving up vacation, you're gonna earn it.
You know, they
I have a
decide
close
to leave
family
within
member
the
that just got a.
4-month period, They only get what they accrue.
I have a
They don't
close
get the full
family-
2 weeks.
I got a close family member that just got a job with the state, right? Has to work the entire year and then gets all of her benefits, vacation time, given up a great job with vacations and all the goodies, walked away for her, and then has to give up a year of working at a new job for the state, and then she'll get everything. So,
Okay, yeah.
yeah, so that's what a lot of people have to do, it's kind of the real world.
The only thing that I would say is that make things more complicated. So currently, right, they work the first year, I should say previous to this, they worked the first year with no vacation time. And then every year on the anniversary of their hire date, they get 2 weeks up front because they accrued that time, right?
Yeah,
If you change the accrual basis, unless it is just for the first year, do you get what I'm saying? Then they hit their first anniversary date, they're back at 0. If they've used the time that they've accrued, they're starting back at 0 again. What we're talking about is that first year of employment, somebody coming in, having 0 vacation time, right? Because every other year they are granted up front because they have accrued it, if that makes sense.
Yep.
So
Well,
if you're going to change the accrual rate,
Well, hold on a second. Is vacation on an annual basis, like every January, everybody, their vacations reinstated?
No, I think
On
it's
the-
hire date, isn't
the
it?
anniversary of hire date, yeah.
It's the anniversary date.
The rest of the benefits are fiscal year.
so if you're hired January 1st, you're earning your days for your first year. And the next January 1st, boom, you get 2 weeks, you don't
Well,
have to
see,
wait
it
for
would be
the.
easier if it was prorated.
The only problem happens is if the new hire decides to leave
Within 1 year of service.
within the first year of service. So in the first month, they're horrible. The employee just didn't work out. You fired them. You owe them the 2 weeks.
No, they only earn.
No, not if you don't go to the accrual basis. Because if they get fired within the first month, right now, you owe them 2 weeks of vacation.
Correct.
Right? If you go to the accrual basis and he gets fired within the first month, he only gets 4 out.
That's why we're saying.
Well,
that's what we're saying. We're gonna go
then
accrual.
that brings up another question. So we don't have a
Probationary?
a probationary period where we conduct 30, 60, 90s.
The personnel rules and regulations have a minimum and maximum probationary period set out. Unlike the other units, the administrators are at will. So employment can be terminated, at any time.
Yeah, that's not what I asked.
So typically, the probationary period is a protection. It allows you to terminate an employee without going through progressive discipline. So in a union job, unless the infraction is pretty severe, you probably can't fire someone. You have to give them a documented verbal, and then a written, and then a suspension, and then you can terminate them. The probationary period allows you to say, this isn't working out, we're still within 6 months, we're gonna terminate your employment with the town without doing all of that. The administrators are not in a union, they do not have the same protections.
They have no probationary period.
There is no probationary period because they're at will.
That saying at will doesn't necessarily cut it, because you can have a 30, 60, 90-day probationary period. And it's not just to have the ability to let someone go. It also provides the ability that you meet with the employee on 30 days. You're doing this well. We need to train you a little bit more. What more support do you need? It's a two-way street. 60 days rolls around. You have the same meeting. Oh, you're progressing here well. You know, whatever. Blah 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 blah. Well, you roll into the 90-day. That's what a 30, 60, 90 is, and that's which is included in a probationary period. So what you're telling me is we don't have that here.
Currently, no.
Okay.
But that's strictly for the administrators.
Correct. This is just administrators.
Strictly for administrators, there's no probationary period.
Right.
And I'm going to say it again, that if you fire them within the first month, if we do not have an accrual basis, you owe them the 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's what
That's
it
what
started
we're
on, right?
Yes.
I think we need to be accrual.
Right, I agree.
Okay, so we need to have a motion.
You good with that?
The emotion, I think.
Who's making the motion?
Well, we need to make a motion to make it vacations based on accrual basis your first year.
And I second. Option. One of the two options.
There's no option.
To clarify, that's just for the first year?
Just for the first year, for new hires.
Then after that
Because
year,
after that, it doesn't really make a difference.
That's 2
does it?
weeks.
That's what you wanted, right? I mean, that's what you were,
Well,
because after they get their first year, do they automatically,
Well, what would be the difficulty, I'm just asking this question, Mike, what would be the difficulty in making January the fresh year? Meaning everybody,
Yeah.
well, yeah, you definitely
Yes, you
can.
can.
You absolutely can.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
because if
I-
someone
I
starts
agree
in
with that.
June, they accrue their vacation time from June to December, whatever days they can accrue there, then come in January, everybody's on the same calendar.
What if
You
they
could
start,
definitely-
what if they start November 30th though?
Doesn't matter.
it doesn't
Yeah, it
matter.
doesn't matter.
It's like that when any
So
other job.
2 months later, they have their 2 weeks?
Yeah, well, in the first year, you have to make exceptions.
Yeah.
I've done it
Yeah,
in companies
Right.
I work
It's
for,
not
that
that
we
uncommon.
switch to go to January. We did talk about that, and the admins wanted to keep it on an anniversary date versus calendar. I think it's easier calendar, but they wanted it so that they don't have everyone using, like, it's the end of their anniversary and they have all this vacation time or whatever, that it's spread out through the years rather than just
Well,
in
again,
December.
That's the
again,
way we
maybe
set up
just
now.
change that to new hires.
Discussion for another day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
I think you're just trying to clarify some of the, in the HR, in your HR role, you're just trying to clean up some of the things that are out there.
yeah, just logistically implementing what you guys approved.
Right.
So what you're saying is accrual up to the first year, and after that, it just,
Then you're,
yeah, okay, I mean,
Go ahead, Rory.
Yeah, sorry. It begs the question about, okay, so somebody starts January 1st. They accrue, presumably the 6 hours a month. That'll get them to a cap of 70. The next January 1st, they're starting out at 0 again.
for next year, their year, right? Because we're set up where they're going by their year.
Yeah, so he
Correct.
used January.
Okay.
that's-
So-
Because they got hired in January.
They were hired January 24,
Yeah.
January 25, they're back at 0. And so every year, what you might have is a situation where people are essentially borrowing against future accruals.
No, but that next year, that January, they have 2 weeks right now.
Right, that's right.
Theoretically,
But
they can have
they
February
don't.
1st,
No, they
they can take a
don't.
week.
They
Because
don't.
if they used it in the first year,
Yeah, but what
Then
if
they
they
don't.
didn't, because we're not saying they have to yet, at least I haven't heard that yet. So if I'm hired January 1st and I don't take any of my accrual all the way to December 31st, then the next January 1st, I have 4 weeks.
Yeah,
Right,
and he's
right.
saying no, because they gotta start all over again.
And vacation time isn't allowed to.
Oh, you gotta
accrue,
use it,
yeah,
you gotta
yeah.
use it.
Use it or
Use it or
lose
lose it.
Okay.
But it creates a situation where people are, if somebody's gonna have 2 weeks in the first year, most are gonna use 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And so that second year, you're gonna have the same thing every year where people are borrowing against future accruals to go on vacations during that year, if that makes sense.
That's
That
the way
doesn't
it's,
make any sense.
that's the way it's set up, or that's the way it's going to be set up.
With this, if you're
Because
changing the accruals.
my thing is if they're accumulating time and they use that time within that first year, how can we just say, you have to use that time? And then when you hit your benchmark, you got your 2 weeks to use for that upcoming year. Starting at zero, that's kind of like, now you gotta accrue everything back again. That doesn't make sense.
No, just the first year you're
Yeah, the
accruing,
first year.
just the first year.
Right, and then you should just get your 2 weeks the following year.
If you're, because it's already accruing. It previously accrued, but in arrears.
right?
You accrued it, earned it, you became eligible to use it after 1 year. So if you're changing the accrual basis,
If you're changing it so that they're accruing but can take it in the first year, when you get to the start of the second year, they've already used what they accrued, so now they have nothing.
Yeah, but as soon as you get to-
Because we're doing arrears, they've been doing arrears.
As soon as
That's
you
the-
get to your new year, you don't have to wait for the whole year to go by. You're in the new year and you have 2 weeks off.
As soon as you hit your anniversary date.
As soon as they're a year, they're a year.
Right, that's,
Then
I think we're all
it's-
thinking the same way.
yeah,
Right?
it's a-
that's,
So how do you?
But that's not how it
with your
works.
employees, How do you do it?
What?
With your employees, how do you give them vacation?
My employees, after 1 year, earn 2 weeks vacation.
So if I come and work for you for the first year, I don't have vacation.
You get nothing.
No.
So, but on my anniversary date, I immediately get 2 weeks?
Yep, and then then from there on in, they get it every 2 weeks.
Yeah, but here, but that's not what,
But
that's
that's not
not
what
what
we're
we're saying
I
here.
think I
We're
just
talking
thought
the
of
first
something
year.
that might be
Oh,
the
here we go.
simplest solution.
First year.
They're granted 2 weeks up front. The first year, it's not payable upon separation.
Well,
That sounds.
that solves it.
My main thing is, I don't think it's right that somebody gets paid 2 weeks vacation if they don't earn it they haven't got their year.
So he's just saying that
The problem.
they only get paid for what they accrue in the
They might-
first year, and after
How
that,
about
it
for
doesn't
the first
matter.
6 months, they get 1 week.
If they
Following 6
leave.
months, they get 2 weeks.
Last year, we did.
If they leave in the 6 months, they
Well,
only get 1
because
week.
they were gonna do the clawback, but now you can't do
Do
it
the clawback without doing the accrual.
because they have to sign off.
Wow, who the hell thought of this one in the first place?
You have
I would have
to
said no.
get
Wait a minute, oh, wait.
to the clawback.
Correct.
And that's the whole.
That's the problem.
For everybody, that's the problem. Right.
Yeah,
That way they have time, they still get it every year up front, but if the concern is that you'd be paying people out if they have to leave, we just
As far
specify.
as the HR,
Yeah.
that is your concern, because you can't, you don't wanna give them the 2 weeks because they only work a month. Or
Right,
2 weeks
exactly,
or whatever.
exactly.
That's the issue. But I mean, you
And-
haven't hired an employee and then fired them the first month.
Yeah, and vacation time.
So try to keep them.
Requests have to be approved by the manager, so.
Yeah, I mean, believe me, I'm gonna try to keep that from ever happening.
I think that one sounds better.
okay. So what do you want us to do? Because we have to make a motion here to move this along.
How about, that, new hire administrators be granted 2 weeks of vacation upon hire, not payable upon separation for the first year of employment.
That sounds fair. The attorney?
That makes sense, right?
That makes
Okay.
sense. After
That
all,
makes sense?
Yeah.
It's a very
So
rare
does-
scenario.
What?
It's a very rare scenario you're going to ever deal with that.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so can someone make that motion? Someone move that motion?
Do we have to amend that?
No, that's the motion that,
Move to adopt the motion stated by Mr. Cook.
I adopt that motion stated by Roland.
And I'll second.
Second.
okay, so the motion has been made and seconded. Any further discussion?
No.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed?
Thank you and
Abstained?
sorry.
Someone's throwing a monkey wrench in.
Okay, all right. Solar credits.
Well, after our finance meeting last week, I did send an email off to UI, to our gentleman contact and a few other people. And lo and behold, yesterday, we got some solar invoices. So we got half the equation. We don't have the Altus bills because there's some confusion as to how Altus is going to get the bills. Initially, the email I got from Altus last week was they had access to the UI portal. They were going to pull them off. According to our UI contact, we're going to have access to the portal and then have to forward the bills to Altus, which makes more sense. That has not happened yet. So I do have the UI bills through the end of June, and that credit, I believe, is up to like 27 at the police station now.
Okay.
So it's going to continue to get bigger. So hopefully, when the Altus bills come in, I can put the whole thing together through the end of the fiscal year and tell you guys where we ended up.
So do you have access for?
I have
the
no
town?
access.
Well, will you have for the town and the Board of Ed? Or just the town?
I believe both, but Lori is great to work with at the Board of Ed. She's
Well, because we need to.
Put it all
once we-
together, yeah.
Once we have all this information, we need to see what that credit is as of June 30th.
correct.
Because it was just an estimate for the
Right.
Board of Ed, and so that's what we're trying to work
The
on.
bills he sent me yesterday were all the accounts on the solar, including the Board of Ed accounts and the town accounts.
Okay,
The Altus bills are combined because it's the A project and the B project.
Right.
Each of them has both
Correct.
sides, so I'll be able to get that information for you.
okay, that's fine. As long as you now have access and the UI has lifted the ban of anyone getting into our accounts and,
We're working on it.
okay. All right. Wallingford Electric Pole Agreement.
You may recall in January of 2023, one of the council items that you passed in the ARPA projects was the fiber installation to go from MBIS to Stanley T. And this is the last piece of the puzzle we needed to get onto the poles. Along that route, there are poles owned by Wallingford Electric, UI, and Frontier. Town Attorney's Office has negotiated the contracts. This was the last one with Wallingford Electric, and I believe it needs your guys' approval to let Mike sign the contract to put that to bed.
Okay. And then they can start the fiber installation?
Yeah, at the time, the guy had the fiber put aside for us, but then it goes back to January of 23. I'm not sure he has that fiber still. The risk we run is that the 26 deadline for everything being complete with, if you drive up Forest Road, those half poles by the solar project are still there. So we expedited that. We put money towards to put that on ahead of time. If you recall, that was an extra $30,000 to get the time. So with any luck, they'll be completed in time for the ARPA deadline, but we're going to try. The hardware is in. It's just a matter of them stringing the fiber, and now that the agreement's in place, that should proceed.
Okay. All right, Marie.
Be it hereby resolved that the North Branford Town Council authorizes Michael P. Downs, Town Manager, to sign the pole attachment license agreement between the Town of North Branford and the Town of Wallingford Electric Division to enable the town's ARPA-funded fiber installation to commence.
Do I have a second? Motion has been made by Councilor Diamond, seconded by Councilor Abelson. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries. Okay, on to approval of bid specifications for bid number 25115, air condition replacement for gymnasium, for Jerome Harrison Gymnasium and North Branford Auditorium. So, I just, have some questions here.
What gymnasium?
It's Jerome Harrison. It's the capital project that we approved.
Also, this is just for the bids.
This is to go out to
Right, the
bid.
Jerome Harrison project was in the capital, and this is a, right.
Right.
All about.
Page 104 of the PDF.
Yes, it starts on, and actually, it's just called North Branford Auditorium. It's not North Branford High School Auditorium. It's just North Branford Auditorium, just to clean that up. So I see that John Florio is here. So, John, I take it you've worked with Mike Fumiati on these bid documents for specifications?
That's why I came in case you had any questions. I did work with Mike, and I gave him authorization. I advised that when he put this out.
Can you just come up to the microphone, just?
I advised that when he put it in the bid spec, he put in that whoever wants a bid, do a walkthrough and contact me, and we would do walkthroughs to any contractor who's interested, because I wouldn't just bid this according to specs. There's a lot of nuances to both these jobs that you have to see on site.
Okay, so on the auditorium project, I didn't see anything in regards to, so I believe that is on the roof?
No, it's on the unit is on the ground.
Oh, it is.
Both units are on the ground. Both condensers are on the ground.
Okay.
You need a crane for both of them. And it also includes, because now when you switch to the newer refrigerant, you also have to change the coils and the piping because it operates at a different pressure. So it's not just changing the condenser outside, it's also changing the coil in the units and changing the piping. So there's a lot of work involved to this. Seeing now that the old systems are outlawed by the federal government and the state, you have to go to the new refrigerant.
You're not planning on putting these on the roof, are you?
No.
They're not on the roof. They're both on the ground. They're large units, though. You need a crane to pick them and drop them.
Okay, so we just want to make sure that it has in here that.
That's strictly for the auditorium, not for Jerome Harrison.
The auditorium and Jerome Harrison, they're both the same.
Mandatory.
The inspect, yes.
I think, to go to John's point, bullet 4, where it says inspection, that should be a mandatory.
Where?
wording in there.
That should be mandatory. I wouldn't accept.
4, inspection of site.
I
Each
would-
bidder that should visit the site. I think based on John's concerns, it should be a mandatory site visit.
That's.
I wouldn't accept anybody's
What
bid.
page is that, Anthony?
107 of the PDF, it's item 4, inspection of site.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So you're gonna do it as just as a group for the bidders?
However Mike wanted to put it in the bid spec, do it as a group, or I told him if he wanted to put it in individually, they could contact me individually and I would meet the contractors on scene.
Okay, so,
Sometimes it's hard to do a group walkthrough because there's so many people asking so many questions and they're wandering around. Sometimes there's not enough room. Sometimes you're better off just meeting with the contractors one-on-one.
Yeah.
It's so much easier if you have the apples to apples and say, here it is, here's the job, this is what we're expecting. It's a lot easier than talking to 15 guys all at one time.
okay, so we need to change in this bid spec it's on page 107, item 4, inspection of site. It says each bidder should visit. We should change that to must.
Yes.
And then also include in there, to contact John Florio. That needs to be changed. So this is just, so this one bid includes both locations. So that's the only place that needs to be changed then. Okay. Okay. And did you, I didn't see anything in here about a timeline.
I don't know what Mike put in there for a timeline. I don't know how soon,
Well, it was my
the sooner
understanding.
the better, of course,
Well, it was my understanding that a contractor had the equipment or the equipment originally was ordered for Jerome Harrison, so does that vendor still have it?
No, the vendor canceled the order.
Okay, all right, so that takes care of that then.
That's the trouble with these here too. When someone comes out to bid this, then you know the supply chain issues everybody's having now. So these are not units that are just sitting there on the shelf. So
Okay.
it's gonna take a while to get the equipment.
Okay,
You have to order it ahead of time. So, timelines is, as soon as Mike can put this on our street, as soon as we get the walkthroughs, as soon as we can get bids, because then it's gonna take a while to order the equipment, get it in place. And it is cooling equipment, so you wanna get it in, before the warm weather arises again.
So how long does a bid have to be on the street? Do we want to shorten the bid time? Or, I mean, I don't know if that helps you or not.
But you guys usually
Maybe.
put it out for what, 30 days?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
Bids usually hit the streets for 30 days. That's usually enough time for contractors to at least contact you, say they want to do walkthrough.
Okay,
30 days, and usually give them 30 days again to put their proposals and everything back to the town, and then you have your opening.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to shorten it,
Okay.
too much.
Yeah,
that's fine. Okay, so, do we have a motion to approve the bid with this change in section 4 as discussed?
I move to approve RFP specifications for RFP number 925010. I'm
No,
sorry,
that-
got the wrong one.
Yeah.
For 25115, air conditioning replacement for Jerome Harrison Gymnasium, North Branford Auditorium with a mandatory walkthrough and the change that they must contact John Florio.
Do I have a second? Second. Motion has been made by Counselor Diamond, second by Counselor Abelson. Any further discussion?
Just, the motion was for North Branford Auditorium, it wasn't included the Jerome Harrison.
Yeah, no, she said Jerome.
Oh, she did?
Mhm.
Sorry.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries. Okay.
Thanks
Next,
for hanging out so
Thank
long,
you.
guys.
Thank you.
next is approval of RFP specifications for RFP 925010 fireworks for the 2025 POCO.
Bruce, can we do all three of these together?
Yep, you could bunch them.
Yep,
Right, they're all.
Yep.
Well, basically, yeah.
yep, you just have to list each, you just have to say each of the RFPs in there.
This is the first time I'm seeing it.
There's just a couple, the fireworks bid has the wrong, it's 4 years behind.
Page
And I'll wrong again.
146 of your PDF.
Page 146.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Fifth bullet talks about in the event the display cannot be held, usually convenient, preferably Labor Day weekend or some weekend in 2021.
Okay.
That was a good year
There was
Okay, so do we have to do it for 25, 26, 27? Do we have to change that 2021 to encompass all 3 years?
The, if I may, the wording that I gave, that I talked with Mike Fumiati was that the Potato Festival committee reserves the right to move the fireworks Friday or Saturday the same weekend. So obviously, meteorologists haven't been right in a few years, but we get a good understanding of what comes ahead. We may be able to move the fireworks to Friday night with enough notice as opposed to Saturday night. Right now, it's scheduled for Sunday night, but as we know, with a washout, it would be probably next to impossible to keep all of our vendors and paid staff till 10, 11 o'clock on a Sunday night.
Okay, so it says, in the event that displays cannot be held on both the original and the rain date for the displays, a new display date that is mutually convenient, preferably Labor Day weekend or a mutually agreed upon weekend. So they're doing, it gives you the rain date. It doesn't specify if it has to be Friday or Sunday, it just says a rain date and the original date.
Right. So we were just looking for Friday or Saturday. If it's canceled, we're not gonna pay.
Yeah, okay,
We're
so,
not gonna just have a random, I don't think that we should have a random firework display in the middle of, October for no reason.
You're gonna have to negotiate that in the contract, if you're gonna tell them to set up and then it rains, and if they don't do it Friday or Saturday, they're gonna want compensation, I don't think, so that's probably gonna be a contract discussion with them. So unless you get them to bid on something, where they're gonna do it Friday or Saturday, unless you tell them no, and then.
Well, if you said for the
Yeah, we-
talk about if it doesn't meet the 2 dates, we can do it later in the weekend, but I think we want to put it in the following year. Furthermore, though, if you read the second passage, I apologize, I didn't see this prior, it wasn't sent to me prior to this meeting, so I was seeing it for the first time. Paid a penalty from the contractor in the amount of $7,500. That used to be the amount for our fireworks. I believe it should be the 15 or 17K. If we had to pay upfront, the penalty fee should be equivalent to what we already paid. Am I mistaken though? Am I reading that incorrectly?
That's negotiable. This is, she's showing me a provision where if they don't perform, for whatever reason they don't show up with their fireworks, what's the penalty they have to pay the town?
well, that's because was the cost of the fireworks before, and if they're using 2021, that's an old cost.
Correct, which I'm saying, so that amount should probably be edited to the 15.5 if that's what we paid for the fireworks.
Yes.
Or 17, depending on what that.
Well, do we pay in advance?
There has to be a 50% deposit paid, and then the check needs to be ready at the time of the performance.
We have to have a provision that if they don't perform, we get our deposit back, plus, I don't think that's what the penalty is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. We have to look at the contracts next year for you.
So do you want to skip this one and go to the other two and then get your ducks in a row for the fireworks before you bring it back to us?
Yeah, we could.
I don't think 30 days is going to make a big difference, is it?
Yeah.
It would be nice to get it out. I think that one provision change of the 2021 with the 3 days will be fine. If Brian's saying it's 7,500 is a penalty on top of our deposit back, I think that.
This is only RFP, we're gonna go, we're gonna get a contract out of it.
So we can make those
I would
additional
put that as
changes.
a provision, that if you don't show up, we get our deposit back, plus you're gonna be penalized by the town.
Okay, so we have to just change the 2021 to 2025. Right? Because this is just the RFP, so they're gonna come back with a quote.
Assuming, I guess, to go to this position, assuming if it rains Friday and Saturday, you want to have fireworks, or if you want it out of the contract, you're gonna say, forget about it, we're not doing it this year, versus we'll do it Labor Day, we'll do it Thanksgiving, we'll do it New Year's Eve, I don't know. That's what you wanna do.
Yeah, currently, if I'm not mistaken, the decision is solely at the responsibility of the coordinator, which is what the existing, now expired contract stated, so I don't operate that way. Our entire team with the town manager and the fire marshal and the police chief all have it, and obviously Jesse, have that conversation well before Saturday even comes, if weather's not looking good, if we even want the fireworks to be delivered, because that's a whole nother process that's way above my pay grade. So, just as a point of reference, Saturday, the police chief, Jesse, other people were meeting, Danny and Franny, said there was a window at like 8:11 to blow the fireworks off. A lot of people didn't understand why this came to head, but those fireworks were already set in the ground and ready to rock and roll by 11:30 in the morning, so they were getting blown off Saturday no matter what. It was just whether or not it was in rain, thunder, or lightning, but they were going. So that decision on our team, town-wide, probably made at 8 o'clock in the morning. So that's when they coordinate with the fire marshal or state fire marshal or whomever, and there's a route of travel, and they arrive on scene, and we're green lighted from there. They're going in the ground. So what we asked was that alternative date of Friday, because we don't think anybody's going to stay till 10:30 at night on a Sunday.
No.
Just reality.
Yeah, nobody's gonna stay.
So, I mean, we don't even offer that as a volunteer sign-up to stay past 6, so it'd be a festival of no one.
Okay, so in this RFP, Jesse, the only thing that needs to be changed right now is the 2021 to 2025?
Correct, that
Okay.
What typically happens if we don't have the fireworks? Do they just hold the deposit for next year, or is, what's typical on the contract?
Yeah, so we have a cancellation policy. It's my understanding. Just as well with all of our entertainment, and I know with our tractor pullers, it's, when I say me, it's not me. I'm just designated as the coordinator, but team decision. If we don't pay, if I cancel it, and when I say I mean
Yeah, I know.
North Branford.
Once they're in the ground, then they have to go on?
We've never had any of the conversation that they're not going off, so they're set and ready to rock and roll. And then
But you can't cancel them once they're in the ground, can you?
in 23 years, we've never had to have that conversation, so it would be uncharted waters from our side. Luckily, the licensed pyrotechnician happens to also cook our corn and potatoes, so we have a little bit more insight.
And he's a town resident.
Yeah, and in his residence, so we 100% get a hometown discount on what we're paying for fireworks.
So again, though, my question was, do they give us back the deposit, or do they carry it to the next year? That's all.
They carry that.
They've worked the last 2 years, so usually the vendor does work with us. It's not in the contract that they have to, but during COVID they did. For those 2 years we did.
So on a little bit more backstory on this, by January, whoever we pick for the vendor, by January, we already know the shot list. So those fireworks are ordered in January. So they just blow them off somewhere else. Charge someone else for it.
Thank you.
I'm sorry?
Somewhere in Northford, I believe, Dave shoot them off.
I'm away most of those days, I don't know.
Okay, so we need motions here too.
Just one or all three?
Why don't we just do fireworks separate, and then we can do the other two together, since we have to make that change.
Make a motion for approval of RFP specifications for RFP number 925010 firework for the POGO.
Second.
And we have to make that change on,
It's a one change.
yeah, to change the date to 2025. Okay, the motion has been made by Councilor Diamond, seconded by Councilor Miller. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries. Okay, you can combine the next two, just.
Madam Mayor, on the shuttle one, just a point that the hours of operation Sunday, we're asking that the shuttles start at 10:45, not 11:45. The fair will already be open for an hour.
On page 163.
163?
Yep.
Okay. So page 163, the hours of operation needs to be changed to 10:45 for Sunday. Okay. Okay, Marie, you want to?
Okay, I make a motion to approve RFP specifications for RFP 925010, I'm sorry, 925011 shuttle bus for POCO and RFP 925012 amusement for BOCO.
Second.
With the changes made.
Second.
Motion has been made by Counselor Diamond, seconded by Counselor Goad, with notations made for shuttle bus change. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries. Okay. Next item is ARPA payee clarification for the YMCA.
Yeah, Madam Mayor, in your ARPA distributions, you referenced the Soundview YMCA as one of the beneficiaries of your ARPA. And when I received the W-9 from them, which is in your packet as well, you'll notice that it's under the Connecticut Coast Young Men's Christians Association, Inc. So I felt it appropriate. If someone was ever looking for a payment down the road 5 years from now and searching the vendor file for Soundview, they wouldn't find one. So I would recommend that you change your motion so that the distribution is actually made payable to the Connecticut Coast Young Men's Christian Association for the $5,000.
Be it hereby resolved that the North Branford Town Council, to clarify a motion regarding an American Rescue Plan Act award, amends their motion from February 2024 as follows. Previous motion to approve $5,000 of ARPA funding to the Soundview YMCA. New motion to read to approve $5,000 of ARPA funding to the Soundview YMCA payable to the Connecticut Coast Young Men's Christian Association, Incorporated.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion was made by Counselor Diamond, seconded by Counselor Goad. My only question was it $5,000 to them? I thought it was less. They might have requested $5,000, but I didn't think we gave them $5,000.
Yeah, 5,000. Yeah, 5,000.
Okay. I thought it was less, but okay. All right. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstain, motion carries. Next one is pension investment manager agreement.
Madam Mayor, for those on the pension committee, this is repeating. In roughly 2018, the town did an RFP for an investment manager for the pension, defined benefit pension plan. And at the time, we went with a company called Hooker and Holcomb. And they've done a great job, as the mayor and Councilor Zampano can attest to. We've increased our returns over prior periods. At the time, they bid a flat $18,000 annual fee for their services, which based on the asset value at that time equated to about a 17 basis point fee they were charging us. Obviously, as the investments have grown due to their work and just the natural plans, contributions and such, with the fair market value of the plans now being a little bit higher, 10 million initially, now 16 million, it comes down to about an 11 basis point is their net fee. And the discussion was at the pension meeting that 15 would be a happy medium. It wouldn't be the same 17 that they originally bid at, but a recognition that 11 was below what a standard amount would be. So there was a motion made at the pension committee, here resolved that the pension committee recommends to the town council, town of North Branford, into a pension investment advisory agreement with USI, which is the company that took over Hooker and Holcomb, to manage investments of the 3 defined benefit pension plans, including a fee structure of 15 basis points with details and logistics for the payments to be worked out, contingent on the fact that the original agreement with Hooker and Holcomb doesn't contain anything that would conflict this action. I did check with Michael Fumiati, and there's nothing in the original agreement with Hooker and Holcomb that would contradict this. So it's before you guys tonight. I did forward the agreement to our town attorney, and I think he has some questions regarding it.
Yeah. I believe you should go out to bid under your charter.
Okay, so, so then we just need,
So I'll work with Michael Fumiati, we'll pull up the RFP from the 2018 timeframe, we'll update it to today's language. I'll have it back before you guys at the pension meeting or finance meeting in September, and ultimately the council meeting in September.
Anthony, where'd the 17 come from?
That was, their bid was a flat $18,000.
Yeah.
Everybody else, I mean, historically, every other contract we've had for investment services is based on a percentage. The better they do, obviously, the better we do, the better they do.
Yeah.
So it was kind of odd. Theirs was a flat $18,000. It was very low, what we were paying previously. So it was very attractive. We needed a change
Yeah, I remember that.
from our
yes.
prior situation, and they've performed exceptionally well for us. They've done great returns with all the different things, low fees and such. But I concur with the counselor's opinion that at 11 going to 15, someone may bid 14 basis points, someone may bid 13. So we're kind of arbitrarily just giving a contract to a new company, USI. Our original agreement was with Hooker and Holcomb. Now we're going with USI. So it does warrant, I would say, a clean slate and say, okay, let's go out and do an RFP again, test the waters, see if who else is out there that wants to come and take our business and maybe do a better deal.
So what you first were talking about was just going with the new USI at 15?
Correct.
Did they ask for 15?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Well, no, Hooker and Hookham went to you, they sold and it became USI like last year sometime.
Yeah, right.
And there was no new agreement. We just continued on the same flat fee basis point.
Right.
So the 17 comes in, they just took the flat fee of 18,000 based and divided it into what the accounts were at the time they took, that Hooker and Holcomb took it in 2017.
Right.
So it came out to 17 basis points. And it just stayed, and it has stayed at that point.
Right.
Even though USI took them over.
And now it's expired.
Yes.
Right, if they wouldn't have said anything, we would still be at 18 and.
That's where I'm trying to get to.
Yeah.
Right.
That's all.
Yeah.
So in retrospect, when it went from Hooker and Holcomb to USI, that probably should have triggered us to
Go out to bid.
Right. At that point.
Okay.
Not just assume that they were going to, take the business, as part of the deal.
Yeah.
So I think that it's probably warranted to go out and we'll do the RFP again. Maybe they'll win it again. I don't know what they're going to come back with a proposal, but I think it's a great call by the counselor to go out and test the waters.
So we'll just table this.
Yep.
On there.
Okay, I'll make a motion to table item Q, pension investment manager agreement.
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Okay. Acceptance of AARP Livable Community Grant.
Madam Mayor, before you tonight, you may recall, I think it was back in February, the council approved our Park Recreation and Senior Center going out for a grant from state ARPA funds. The purpose of that was to do some seating in the senior center and to also make the reception area more ADA accessible. Unfortunately, due to legislative action, that amount available from state ARPA funds was reduced, so we did not get that. However, if you rearrange the letters of ARPA, you get AARP, and our Park Recreation and Senior Center are now planning to apply, or they are applying for an AARP Connecticut Livable Communities grant to do that modification work for the ADA reception desk and improve the reception area at the Stanley T. Williams Community Center. It doesn't require a municipal match, and the grant is for $5,000. And Jess is here to answer any questions if you have any on that. She's been doing the work on this. But we're looking for you to tonight approve the acceptance if it's awarded. It hasn't happened yet, but if we were to get it.
Good job, Joe.
Yeah.
The North Branford Town Council hereby approves the acceptance if awarded of the AARP Connecticut Livable Communities Grant in the amount of $5,000 for modification of the reception area at Stanley T. Williams Community Center.
Second.
Motion by Counselor Diamond, seconded by Counselor Goad. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries. Okay, the next is.
Can I speak up real quick?
Sure.
I just want to thank Brian again for the last subject that we tabled, and I wanted to thank you, Brian, for giving us that advice, because I think we were all ready to vote on it and just pass it, so thank you.
Acceptance of AT&T Technology for Senior Grant.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So back in June, State Representative Vin Candelora let me know of a grant opportunity that's available from AT&T, and that was they do themes for the grants that they put out, and they were looking for something that was associated with technology and seniors. So I got together with our Parks, Recreation, and Senior Center and library administrators, and we decided that we wanted to apply for a $10,000 grant from AT&T for a program that would be run jointly by the Senior Center and the library to give a series of classes to seniors on the use of technology. It'd be aimed at assisting seniors in connecting them to others by teaching them how to use the technology and help create meaningful relationships and social connections, fostering independence, and also help them avoid online pitfalls like scams and malware. The idea behind this is that the seniors would be issued new tablets to work with during the courses, and if they were certified having completed the course, they'd be able to keep the tablets. And I'm pleased to report to you that our application to AT&T has been successful, and the acceptance of this grant is before you this evening. It does not require any matching funds on part of the town, and it is for $10,000. And my thanks go to our library staff, our Park and Rec staff, and of course, Representative Candelora for making us know that this grant was available in the first place.
I think it's a great privilege to congratulate her for doing this.
Yes.
What's the minimum age?
Our senior center is 55 plus.
Oh, maybe.
Okay, and the North Branford Town Council hereby approves the acceptance of a $10,000 grant from AT&T to support seniors with technology and digital literacy through a program administered by the North Branford Senior Center and libraries.
Second?
I'll second.
Motion by Counselor Diamond, seconded by Counselor Miller. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries. Approval of award RFP 9625009 to QDS Tax and Assessment Software.
Make a motion to approve RFP number 9625009 to QDS Tax and Assessment Software.
Second.
Motion by Counselor Diamond, second by Counselor Goad. Any discussion? All in favor?
Oh.
Oh, okay.
I thought we were using units.
No. This is for the assessor's office and the tax office.
We got
They-
that a couple months ago.
Yeah, we
That's
agreed
the
to
presentation.
that one.
So they use different software to,
Like 2 months ago, they.
Yes.
Yes.
Mhm.
Oh, so this is just the RFP. I thought we improved that for that.
This is awarding the
Oh,
RFP.
okay.
So we
Correct.
approved the RFP, it went out to bid, and now we're awarding it. Okay? All right.
I'm tired.
Aren't we all? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries. Approval of tax refund.
Second.
Okay. The motion has been made to approve the tax refund by Counselor Abelson, seconded by Counselor Goad. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries. Okay. Next is request from the Police Commission to modify the deputy chief's pension. And I don't know, is there anything in our packet?
Should be in the folders,
Oh.
under information sharing.
Information sharing.
Okay.
Doesn't say top secret, it says information
It
sharing.
looks very, yeah.
Okay, so this is on the deputy chief's retirement portion of his contract. So this is where the police commission held a special meeting last week, and there was some miscommunication. They thought that the deputy chief would fall under the retirement package for Chief Holleran, which allows the police administration to start the first year of pension instead of waiting a year. Unfortunately, that contract for Chief Halloran specifically was just for chief, and it didn't qualify for the deputy chief. So the police commission met and they authorized to enter into negotiations to amend so that the deputy chief can receive retirement benefits in his first year. The chief came before the finance committee last week to let us know that he had enough money in his budget to cover this, and clarified the next day that he actually, when he was working on his budget in the springtime, he had thrown in the money for the pension in this current budget, so there would be no moving of funds from one account to another to cover it. The money is already there. So the motion, so what they are asking is that so the council needs to approve this change in his contract to allow the retirement in the first year. And the town's portion of it is 10% of his salary. So there is no suggested motion here for us.
I think it's actually two parts. In addition to modifying the deputy chief's contract, you need to authorize the town manager to sign a new 401A plan specific to the deputy police chief.
Okay.
You're going to need to make a motion authorizing the town attorney to draft an amendment to the deputy chief's contract, changing his retirement benefit to a 401A effective the next pay period, and the language is, I have to just indicate what the town manager to sign.
A new 401A mission square agreement specific to the deputy chief.
Okay. So do I have someone to move the motion as stated by the town attorney?
I'll move the motion as stated by the town attorney.
Second.
Okay. The motion has been made by Councilor Abelson, seconded by Councilor Zampano. Any discussion?
Is this set in stone now for, we'll say, our next chief down the road and the next?
No, it's actually, no.
No.
It's just for this?
It's just for this.
Okay.
Their contracts are I mean, so we shouldn't have to get into it for a while, but we're good.
Perfect.
They're negotiated, right?
Yeah.
Each contract is negotiated if it were a new employee.
Correct.
New chief. Or
Yep.
Yes, yes. Okay. Okay. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries. Okay, next item, citizen statements and petitions. Any citizen statements? Okay. Now, we are going to move into, this is actually not going to be executive session, it's going to be called a non-meeting for discussion with the Board of Ed regarding contract negotiations for administrators. So this concludes our regular meeting at this time. So the non-meeting will include Board of Education representatives, the town manager, the town attorney, finance director, council. Is there an attorney present for the board?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Marjorie is here, but was late, she had to leave.
My watch is telling me to stand.
Okay.